Hey Sneha, how are you doing?
I'm keeping well, Preeti. How about you?
I'm doing well too.
Hey, guess what? We managed to close that big deal. It's such a big win for us.
Wow, that's great. Calls for celebration.
True, I agree.
Exactly, you guys really worked hard for it. So, how are things at home?
At home, it's not the best. My sister just called. She's so upset with the way her teenage son is behaving with her these days.
That's sad. You know, teenagers, it can be difficult because that's the time where these teenagers they develop their beliefs and ideas, which is so much different from that of their parents. And as children enter into this adolescent phase, they develop the need for having independence and privacy. But what is important is that the need for privacy must balance with the need to stay connected with their family and their friends.
I agree about their need for independence and privacy, Preeti. But as they try to take on more responsibilities, they also need to learn to agree with this, various disagreements and differences in opinions properly. They shouldn't become disrespectful towards others. My nephew is talking back a lot these days. It's so difficult to have a proper conversation with him under the same roof. It's just getting very difficult.
Sometimes their disrespectful behavior, it might be a result of, an underlying issue or feelings that they are unable to express properly. They might be experiencing some kind of stress or maybe some confusions, frustrations, and, other emotions which they don't know how to express it. So what is important, we being adults, we need to understand the root cause behind these behaviors, and we need to communicate with them patiently and empathetically to address if there is any underlying issues.
As a counselor, could you please suggest some ways to deal with disrespectful teenagers? I can share them with my sister. It will surely help us.
Sure, Sneha. With a proactive and consistent plan, we can help these disrespectful behavior to get better. So, learning how to interact with others without being rude is an important life skill.
I agree, Preeti. It's important even as he grows up to be an adult. What should we do then?
The best way to decrease disrespectful behavior in teenagers is to connect with them, and having a meaningful and mutually respectful relationship. Because disrespect usually brings disconnection.
Oh, how does that happen?
Mostly, when a teenager shouts at you disrespectfully, you cut out of their privileges by either taking away their phone or stopping them from their favorite activities. So this makes them rebel even more, and you cut up even more of their privileges, and this cycle just continues. By doing so, a disconnection it takes place there. But remember, our goal should be to connect with the teenager if you truly want to change their behavior. So Sneha, how does your sister react to the disrespectful behavior of her children?
My sister nags a lot. But what can she do? Her children take their own sweet time to do the things that she asks them to do. So she ends up repeating the same thing over and over again. Finally, she loses her cool and yells at them out of frustration.
Although it can be hard for us as adults to, stay calm during this time of, disrespectful behavior, but there's a better chance of preserving your relationship with your child if you have a plan and you have to work on the open communication.
I understand the need for open communication. It's very important. Last weekend my sister's family went out for dinner. My nephew was so rude when he was asked to pass on a dish by his younger sibling. His rude behavior spoiled everyone's mood.
Ideally, it would be best to address the rude comment or behavior immediately rather than letting it linger. The immediacy of the response is very important because it facilitates better learning for children and teenagers. So next time, maybe you can respond in such a way when there is a rude comment or a behavior. Maybe you can say something like this: I see that you're upset. Let's talk about it.
We have noticed that when we are trying to address some issue with him, he responds in anger using hurtful words and tone. Then he just storms off angrily outside his room. How do we respond then?
In that case, you must talk to him directly when he's calm. It is very important to address the child directly and get his attention before addressing the behavior. So clearly address the behavior without shaming or blaming. Instead of saying, "Why are you always so rude?" you can say, it's not okay to yell. Let's find a better way to communicate.
I agree. How we communicate with a teenager is equally important to reduce conflicts and arguments. He often complains that his mom keeps giving him long lectures.
Well, you need not give lecture to your child. Keep your response concise and focused on the behavior. You may give him maybe 2 choices to make him act promptly to your instructions.
Can you give an example, Preeti?
Yeah, sure. So for example, when there's an argument, you may gently say, we don't yell at each other here. Let's take a break and calm down. So by doing so, you give them and yourself some time to cool off the heat before coming back and talk about the issue.
Definitely, short and clear messages are more effective. No one likes to listen to long explanations. We must spend more time actively listening to their opinions too, if we want them to feel valued.
Yes, that is why to address a teenager's disrespectful behavior, an action-based approach really helps. For example, if they are disrespectful during chores, use positive reinforcement by pairing right behavior with rewarding activities. You might play a game together or watch his favorite movie together. When the chore is completed, respectfully.
How about when they are sarcastic or we find them rolling their eyes all the time?
So be very specific with your child that sarcasm, insults, and disrespect are not allowed in your family. Let your child know how such language and tone can be hurtful to other people and is an ineffective way of communication. For example, when a child says something being sarcastic, you can say that sarcasm is not respectful. Let's find a better way to express your thoughts.
That's a great suggestion, Preeti. We have also noticed that he's so unhappy to follow home rules, which results in fights all the time.
Separate the behavior from the child's identity. For example, instead of saying, "You're so rude," try saying, "Your behavior is disrespectful." When he expresses dissatisfaction with family rules, provide choices to involve him in decision making.
Yes, involving him in decision making can make him feel valued, fostering his development into a respectful individual as he grows older. Feeling included and special is vital for every youngster's sense of positive self-esteem.
That is true. As adults, we often tend to react when our teenagers misbehave. It's crucial to ensure that our corrections are aimed at the behavior but not at the child. It's very important to remain calm when addressing our child. When our children misbehave, we need to calmly say that, you're important to me. However, I've noticed some rude behavior that is not acceptable. Let's work together to improve it.
These suggestions were great, Preeti. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. I will share them with my family.
Sneha, these suggestions are actually ideal responses from trust-based relational intervention. I'm sure that it will help in fostering a better relationship between your nephew and his mother.
Can they contact you if they need further help with their teenagers?
Definitely. We have a team of counselors at Santosha Samsara, and you can contact us for any kind of behavior modification or emotional regulation for your children or adolescents.